Welcome to displayads.info. We've got a case study where we're documenting the financials around a content website that we're building and monetizing with Ezoic. I just want to run you through this month's financial update. Basically, we're looking at month 22 using Ezoic and building this case study website. So the revenue for the month, as you can see here, is $17,609 for the month. Okay, and this is slightly down on the previous month, and I think this is the first month down that we've had for the entire duration of this project, basically. And the reason for it is within the whole industry, there's been a bit of a dip, so a bit of less competition this month. So meaning that the EPMVs have dropped down. So we'll run you through that and show you what we can see there. If we compare it directly to last month, so you can see the dates at the top. Last month was only a 30-day month as well, compared to this month being a 31-day month. So the revenue itself was down about 8.2%, 8.3%, so from 19,200 down to 17,600. So you can see the difference there, but the EPMV itself, you can see dropped from $42 to $36, so it's around a 14-15% drop. But our page views are up and engaged page views were up. So unfortunately, more traffic, less revenue this month. So this will happen. The whole, I guess, advertising game is going to be a constant ebbs and flows, up and down. And what we want to look at is how it averages over the year. So don't let this discourage you. I think it's important that you understand why it happens. So let's show you this as a real life example, basically. So this month we've gone backwards, even though we've got more traffic, and obviously we've invested in content to grow that traffic, etc. So it is sad when it goes down. Ezoic has an ad revenue index, which is basically a metric from 0 to 100 to show you the value of the ad industry at any given point. If we can look at this year, it kind of works in typical cycles where the last quarter of the year is when the most amount of competition is in the market, and then January you get the least amount of competition in the market, basically. Okay, and then we look at how it's gone this year. It is actually quite down in some ways from last year. So if you look at June, that was up around 60 odd. June this year it was kind of didn't quite touch 60, sat around 50, but July, you can see here there's a slump where it goes going down into the 40s, occasional spike into the 50, but very much down. We compare that to last July, the metrics shown here mid 50s, quite just peaked into the 60s there. So it looks to be down by about 10%. Which isn't the end of the world. It will go down and it will build up through the quarter. Then it might have a little bit of a drop again. But as long as we know that there's this seasonal cycle that happens, it is less of an issue. And we can also compare our data that we're getting as an individual publisher against the whole industry using the ad revenue index tool from Ezoic. So we know that it's not our site that's performing badly this month. It's just the demand for advertising is slightly down. So that correlates with what we're seeing here, basically. So traffic is up 10%, but the ad revenue results are down by about 8%, with what looks to be about a 14% drop in the EPMV. So it is what it is. It's not going to discourage us. We'll keep pushing forward with building content, pulling traffic, showing ads, and we're still very much, it's not a bad place to be at $17,000 a month ad revenue. So that's all good. Also, got your attention. I do want to give you some information around ads per page. So within Ezoic's big data analytics tool, there is, if you go to yield and then ads per page, it gives us figures on the number of ads shown for each page view, basically. So, and this is interesting because the kind of AI placeholder setup, or allowing Ezoic to choose and pick which of those placeholders are actually used, it's very difficult for the publisher to understand how many ads are actually shown. Like, we might put 30 or 40 ad placeholders on the page and we hope that they don't all show. But what you can see here is the data done by impressions, basically. So the most amount of pages shown on the case study website showed 8 ads total, basically. And I've exported this data and done a bit of analysis on it, and the average number of ads for a page view with 9 ads basically. But you can see there's quite a lot of similar there between, I guess, kind of 7 and 15. So that's where the bulk of the fluctuation is going to be. So just letting you know, you can look at this data if it interests you. Also, demand partners as well under yield. You can look at where Ezoic source the ads from basically. So they can broker ads from their partners. The bulk of it is from Google Ad Exchange. Next, Adsense mediation, and then so on and so on from there. But you can see there's so many different ad partners that they're using, and it gives you the actual figures around the impressions, the actual revenue that you got for those as well. So that is just looking for the last week there. Actually, let's just update that for the last 30 days to give you an idea of of how that plays out, and give you some figures to look at as well. That might take a minute to load. Whilst that does that, we're looking for the last month here. This is ad locations, so done by revenue. You can see the floating bottom ad, which is like the footer ad that kind of floats across the bottom of the screen. That's the highest yielding ad for the month. Under ad page title, so under the title and the post, that ad is the next one, which is pulse and most revenue. Then under that, under the first paragraph in the article, under the second paragraph. This one's labeled mid content, but it's probably the 5th paragraph would be my guess without looking it up. And then the floating sidebar, also very powerful as well. So this just gives you an idea of your ad placeholders, how much the RPMs are, what clicks they're receiving. So it's good data to analyze exactly what ad placeholder is doing what and how it's performing. Obviously, you can look all these up individually as well. That ad partner data might take some time to run. So I'll just let you know it saves a week's worth of data. You can expand that out to a month as well, but it's going to be Google Ad Exchange at the top, Adsense mediation after that. So it's just a bit of a dive down into what Ezoic is doing behind the scenes with your ad placeholders, how it's getting good EPMVs from all of its options on the back end that it's got to make decisions to find the best ad placement to return the most amount of ad revenue for the publisher, basically. Okay, and if you're interested in making money from content websites, I have built a full guide, which is it's available on Display Ads Info. This is what I'm calling like my simplified advice for making money from content websites. So this is done from all of the sites that I run, but specifically it's the exact process that I'm using for the case study that I've just shown you the financial figures for. And I've tried to simplify it down the best I can. It is a long article, maybe 3,000 words, but it's based on years of experience, and it's really me trying to trim down the process of how to make money from a content website, basically. So I'm just going to quickly see if I can run you through in 2 minutes. So obviously you need to own a website, that'd be number one. To get an ad provider, I'm using Ezoic. You can choose who you want, Adsense or Adthrive, MediaVine. There's others available, but I think rather than messing around, just stick with Ezoic rather than trying to do this process of swapping every couple of months, a couple of years. Do the keyword research. This is just a mental bit to skip. Make sure you do it. Get a tool. I use Ahrefs. Focus on the US. That's where the volume is. That's where the good ad EPMVs are. Keyword research process. I'd read that. I'd understand everything I've written there. Create the best content for the keyword. So you need to match the search intent. There's no cheat for this. You need to create the best answer to what the user is searching for, basically. So you can't shortcut that part of it. And then just keep creating as much content as you can afford or have time to do, basically. So it's more hooks in the water. So if you're just going to do 3 articles and see what happens, like that's good. It's a start, but you're only going to have 3 hooks in the water compared to if over 6 months you did 100 articles and you got 100 chances of those articles to rank. So I'll do as many as possible, and once you start to learn what's working for you, you can do more of that kind of content, basically, more of those type of keywords. Just need to allow time for the content to rank 6 to 12 months. It will take time, so you have to be prepared to create the content and keep going, whether or not you're actually getting cash back in or traffic back in. You just have to keep moving forward, basically. Over time, that traffic will come. You can see this was very flat for a long time, and then all of a sudden we started to get the growth. show ads to your readers, so once you've actually got readers, look at your data, optimize the ads, the placeholders, the ad options that you've got, and kind of maximize what you're getting in. Over the month, basically, you're going to be accruing ad revenue, and that will build up over the month, and then you'll get paid out if you're using Ezoic net 30 days after the month's completed. Get paid from your ad provider, and then a key step for me is just reinvesting some of your profits into content. So the faster you can afford to do this, the faster you can scale. Basically, if you can afford to pay a writer for one article a month, it'll help you move forward faster. And once you get to the point where you can afford 10 or you can afford 20, it'll help you move even faster. At the minute, we're doing around 100 a month. Last month we did 118. It's a lot of money invested in content. But the returns can be good once you've got it right. And I've documented and all the other things you can click through this give you all of the resources to help you push forward with your own growth for your website. And this is a great example. So going back and looking at the data, the first $7,000 that I spent on content after I let it rank for 18 months, and that's kind of 12 to 18 months, because not all those articles are published at the same time. It returned $55,000 in ad revenue. So you can see the return that's possible there once it's had enough time to rank is crazy. But if, for instance, I decided to put less cash in up front, I would have got a lot less money in return as well. So, do what you can content-wise, and also hiring a team. So it's possible to get affordable writers via Upwork, depending on your niche. So I've just got a bit of a guide, how to get on Upwork, how to find a writer. It's difficult. You just got to test writers and keep the good ones is the short answer, basically. Build an editorial process around it where you can kind of take yourself out of it. Maybe you just do the editing of it, but you set a list of keywords. Your writers work on the keywords. They supply the copy. You edit it, get it into make sure it's just standard, and get out of the door. And then the writer's working on the next article, and then you're moving. Over time, hopefully, you can use that process to build good traffic and then get good ad returns. So this is exactly what I've done, and it's the simplest way I could document it. So hopefully, it adds some value to you. If you are interested in this space, I would give it a read. Leave comments below. Let me know what you think. Comment on this YouTube video, and I hope it helps you out. Okay, thanks for watching.